Looks like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Auto Club Speedway is the premier motorsports facility in Southern California, built on the site of the former Kaiser Steel Mill near Fontana in 1996 through 97 at a cost of $100 million. The track has 84,000 permanent seats and is home to a NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series race each spring. Constructed by the Penske Corporation as a clone to Michigan Speedway, the track was originally known as California Speedway. It was later purchased by ISC, which subsequently sold its naming rights to the Automobile Club of Southern California in 2008. In addition to a high-banked oval, Auto Club Speedway features several road course configurations, which have been used for sports car and motorcycle races, as well as an infield track used for testing purposes. Given its proximity to Hollywood, the track has also appeared in scores of movie, television shows, and commercials. Tonight, it's race number 6 of the Noble Racing Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Auto Club Speedway for race number 6 of the Noble Racing Series. 100 laps the race distance here tonight. Weather details, 69-degree ambient temperature, 81% humidity, rather odd for this part of the country. Partly cloudy skies, relatively breezy at 15 miles per hour. Track temp, 105 degrees, likely to come up just a bit as the afternoon continues on. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. Let's go down trackside and see where everyone is lined up. Kevin McCann fastest at a 39.80. Then Zach Millett, Brandon Nufford, Brian McCann and Will Hewitt, your top five. Those five drivers all under the 40-second barrier. Drew Blaze just over it with a 40.02. This practice coming to a close here in Fontana. Should jump right into the qualifying session. We'll see who hits pit lane first and begins to roll. Before we get too deep in the weeds, let's take a look at the point standings coming into this evening. Brian McCann on top of the board, a 30-point advantage over the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Then it's Chris Goins, Neil Quick, Matt Sisler, the top five. Will Hewitt, Vincent Short, Drew Prale, Mark Truxell, and Doug Wysocki, the top 10. That's your top 10 point standings. Further down into the 18th position, Michael Tucker, Jesse Redding, Joe Tucker, Zach Millett, Chris Elliott, Eddie Rose, Alan DeFries, and Drew Blaze. We'll watch Will Hewitt as he's on the racetrack. Willett with Dr. Dabber on the side and Jeff's famous steak sauce on the nose of that number 33 machine. Will Hewitt, little rich into turns 1 and 2, slides it up the racetrack, keeps it off the safer barrier. See what kind of lap time this is going to yield for Will Hewitt. Hewitt off turn 4, drags it down to the bottom of the racetrack, keeps it off the apron. 40.141 for Hewitt, puts him top of the board for the time being. He's going to go one and done. Millett crosses the stripe. He goes top of the board, 39.998 for the 315. A surprise and late entry for Zach Millett. Expected to have to work tonight. Was lucky enough to get out of that scenario. Zach Millett right up against that outside wall off turn number 2. Back across the line. Does Millett improve? He does not. 40.037 on lap 2. Provisional pole sitter for the time being. Brian McCann finishing up his lap, a 40.164. Kevin McCann was fastest in the session early on. He is yet to hit the racetrack in qualifying, likely waiting for some track temperatures to drop slightly. Eddie Rose first lap, a 41.805. He's ninth for the time being. Second lap picks it up a bit, 41.090. Drew Prale in the number 80 machine. .480 on lap 1. Prale sits ninth on the board. Gen 4 cars are going to be a handful at this place. You can see them gingerly getting back to the throttle, trying to get out of the corner. Prale back to the line here, lap 2 in the books. 40.547 as Prale's paint scheme changes to the Kodiak ice colors. In short on the racetrack. Clarification on the Kevin McCann story. Matt Sisler giving us the information here in a stream chat. Kevin cannot qualify due to incidents last week at Martinsville Speedway as Vince Short goes third quick, 40.060. Chris Gones, seventh on his first lap, back to start finish to complete lap 2. Fourth quick, 40.131 for Chris Gones. Chris Mefford, the number 46. Oh, gets into the outside wall there off turn 4, coming to complete his first lap. Obviously going to hurt his first lap, and, well, it's going to completely ruin lap 2 as well. So Chris Mefford across the line here. He may be all done. Not sure if he can get lap 2 in or not. Neil Quick out on the track in the number 2 R&R Racewear Chevrolet. Quick takes the green flag on his qualifying attempt. Just over 5 minutes, just under 6 minutes elapsed in the session, 4 minutes to go. May see some guys opt to come out a little bit later. Drew Lays, Mark Truxell, Mike Fahey, Matt Kopp, Chris Mefford, Tim Stubblefield, Doug Wysocki. All drivers not making an attempt to this point. Quick completes lap number 1. Usually tends to be the quicker one here this afternoon. Let's see where he lands. Fourth fast, 40.115. Sits just behind Vincent Short. Matt Sisler, the number 93. First lap of 40.197. New colors on that Kia this week. Really easy to steal, in case anybody needs a ride. Sisler driving it deep into turn 3. Didn't get it back down to the bottom all the way. Real loose on the power coming out of 4. Still loose out of 4. .306 for Matt Sisler, sits 9th. Just under 3 minutes to go. Handful of drivers still not making a lap to this point. With that, we're going to step aside, get another break out of the way. We'll be back with our starting grid after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at California Speedway, the starting grid for tonight's race, the Noble Racing Series, on the pole position. The only driver to crack 39 seconds or less, Zach Millett at 39.998, cutting it close. Outside front row, Brandon Mefford, the number 83, missed it by just 1/100th of a second. Second row, it's going to be the 15 of Vincent Short with Neil Quick in the 2. Starting 5th, Chris Goins, the 41. Will Hewitt, number 33, he'll start 6th. 7th starter, it's the 3 of Brian McCann, flanked by the 39 of Michael Tucker. Starting 9th, Matt Sisler. 10th goes to Ken Couch. Jesse Redding, the number 21, will start 11th. 12th goes to the 13 of Joe Tucker. Starting 14th, Drew Prowl in the 80. Chris Elliott will start 14th. Eddie Rose, the number 88, starts 15th. 16th starter, it's the 42 of Kevin McCann. Drew Blaze starts 17th. Mike Fahey rolling from the 18th starting spot. 19th goes to Chris Mefford. Mark Truxell will start from P20. 21st, Timmy Stubblefield, the number 92. Doug Wysocki starts 22nd. And last but not least, from Charity Motorsports, it's the number 22 of Matt Kopp, starting last in 23rd position. It's your starting grid for race number 6 from Auto Club Speedway, the Noble Racing Series. Getting ready to leave pit lane here for one pace lap, and then we should see the green flag the next time by. Field still waiting for a couple of drivers to grid up here. You see Vincent Short still parked in the pit stall, likely starting either from pit lane or just from the tail of the field. Not sure. There's a bunch of penalties that have stacked up from last week's caution fest, I guess you could call it, out at Martinsville Speedway. Can't all be pretty perfect. Once again, the race details tonight. 100 laps the race distance. Air temperature 69 degrees, 80% humidity, partly cloudy skies. Breeze has come down slightly to 11 miles an hour, and track temp standing pretty firm here at 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers have a full load of fuel at 100% and 2 sets of tires available to them over the wall if they so choose to take them. I think they're going to take them. Again, got to thank R&R Racewear for coming on board midway through the season here to help us out with the plaques at the end of the season. Appreciate that sponsorship deal that Neil Quick has offered up to us. Field out of turn 4. Pace cars in pit lane, waiting for Barney to wave the green flag.
Green flag.
And there it is. Green is in the air. We're racing here from Auto Club Speedway. One driver slipping to the back of the field here on the start. Not sure exactly who that is. Might have been the 88 of Eddie Rose. It does appear to be the case as Eddie's running down 20th. Oh, the second place machine of Brandon Mefford gets a piece of the outside wall to complete lap 1. Millett maintains the top spot. Neil Quick takes advantage of the rare mistake from the 83. Neil Quick up to the second spot, but Mefford not to be deterred after that impact with the wall, keeps his foot down. Still challenging the 2 now off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Second place machine Neil Quick, then Brandon Mefford, then Brian McCann. Second, third, and fourth, all IROC Challenge drivers. Ironically, they're running this same racetrack here tomorrow evening, also here on HBR TV. So if you like what you see here tonight, make sure you tune in tomorrow. Or if you really don't like what you see tonight, tune in tomorrow anyway, because maybe it'll be better. It's a win-win. Mefford going back to the inside here for Neil Quick, taking that second spot. Not quite clear. Mefford way to the bottom. Quick going to use the run to the outside, but speaking of a run, here comes Brian McCann. Looking to the outside of the 2. Quick was going to let the car float up the top of the racetrack, but saw the 3 coming with a big head of steam and opted to pull it down to the middle lane and let the 3 go on by, at least for the time being. Quick starting to fight back, though. Maintain that top line as Matt Sisler is going to go up the gut in between the 2 and the 3. Thought Quick was going to slide up into Sisler there, but he thought better of it. Quick has lost a handful of spots here in just a couple of laps. Neal back in the 7th spot now. Millett maintaining the race lead. We got NS Vengeance in the stream chat saying, "We rock with the Tuckers because the Tuckers rock with us." Very cool. Quick slipping now to the 8th spot. Ken Couch working on him now for that position as well. Quick continues to fall backwards here. First couple of laps for the 2, I think, all right, let's see how hard we can run this thing and then just kind of take it easy, take care of the tires, not beat on our stuff. We've seen Neal do this a lot of times. He's not going to be a lead driver in the first, I don't know, even half to 3/4 of the race, but because he's so good at saving his stuff, he's always there at the end. Blaze now taking a peek around the outside of Neal Quick. Quick currently running 10th. Back out front, Zach Millett still with the race lead. Now 7, now 3/4 of a second ahead of the 3 of Brian McCann. Mefford hanging in that 3rd position. Now back the battle for the 4th spot between Will Hewitt and Mike Tucker. Hewitt to the outside, the black number 33. Tucker down low, and that white, blue, and orange number 39. Tipping that left front down that white line, slides up in front of Will Hewitt. Hewitt jumps back to the outside. And this the fight for the 4th position. While these 2 continue to battle, I don't know if Mefford had another issue, but they seem to be gaining ground pretty quickly on the 83. Hewitt went way up the racetrack. Tucker's going to slide job off turn number 2, gets back in front of the 33. Hewitt drops back down to the inside. Hewitt with an advantage into 3, had him clear for a minute, slides up, has to lift just a bit as the 39 of Tucker was to the outside. Still the battle for this position. I think if they got lined out and stopped fighting with each other, they could probably reel in the 83 without problem. Get up in that 3rd spot. And Chastity Tucker in the stream chat. Go Tucker boys. So far, it looks like Tucker's winning the fan club competition. Still watching this fight back for the 4th position between Mike Tucker and Will Hewitt. Hewitt trying both lanes, top and bottom. Real loose on exit for Tucker. You can get away with that for a little while, but you put too much heat in that right rear tire, it's only going to get worse and start to handle more poorly as the race goes on. 9 laps in, you're going to have to give and take just a bit. And we talked about Neal Quick doing a lot of giving here lately. He's back in that 12th position. Still watching this fight. Neither one of these guys wants to give it up. On board with Will Hewitt. Looking left down to Mike Tucker in the 39. Tucker slides in behind. Hewitt finally got him clear. We got Tay Rose in the stream chat, also cheering on Mike and Joe. Yeah, we'll watch closely here on Michael Tucker. It looks like that right rear definitely getting hot. He's really loose out of turn 4 once again. See how it looks on the exit of turn 2. It's down into turn number 1 right now. A little bit of cloud cover here at Auto Club Speedway. Tucker looked pretty good off turn number 2 this time. We'll watch it one more time through turn 4. That's seemingly where he's had the most issue, and just barely scraping the outside wall before turning into the corner. Checking back out front here, Zach Millett still with the race lead. Brian McCann a half second off the back bumper. Back to the main straightaway. Millett still in command. He's given up about a tenth the last lap. Field has spread out pretty significantly to this point. Check on Kevin McCann here. Again, he started at the back of the pack here, possibly from pit lane. 42 was fastest in the practice session prior to getting started here tonight. Didn't have the luxury of being able to qualify. Kevin McCann still back in the 22nd position. Best lap of the day of 40:31, which ironically is the exact same best lap that leader Zach Millett put down, 40.31 seconds. So don't be too concerned about Kevin McCann. He's back at the tail end of the field all by his lonesome for now, but there's no sense. You can't win this race in the next handful of laps, but you can certainly throw it away. Kevin McCann just back there minding his own business, taking care of his stuff. Don't be surprised to see him involved in the top 5 battle here as this one gets towards the end. Holler boys in the stream chat. How them HBR guys in Gones and Reading and Truxell. Anyone but Quick, they say. Well, for reference, Quick back in the 11th spot, lost 7 positions since the start of the race. Yeah, we talked about that a bunch, to no one's surprise. We see that happen a lot in the early running of these races with the 2, but he always gets it together as the 08 gets into the fence there just a bit. Just in behind Quick. Joe Tucker closing in on the 2 as well. Vincent Short running back in the 18th position. Getting qualified well, had to go to the back. Chris Goins just ahead of Vincent Short. And Eddie Rose back in the 22nd position. His last lap of 42.52, almost a full second slower than the rest of the field at the moment. Couch ran a 42.05, but he got into the wall. Jesse Redding in the number 21. He's running up in the 8th position. He's gained 3 spots, and he's battling with the 93 of Sisler. Sisler gets loose off of turn number 4 in front of some traffic. The one of Drew Blaze just trying to find a way around. Blaze having to lift to stay out of the back bumper of the 93. Quick continuing to slowly but surely work his way back towards the front. That's when you're starting to see a plan come together. Oh, 93 is Sisler in the fence again. Clouds have given way to sunshine once again here at Auto Club Speedway. Quick to the inside of Jesse Redding, or close to it at least, down into turn 3. Now he dives down low to the bottom. Redding goes up the racetrack. Joe Tucker alongside Drew Blaze. Blaze with a bigger run off the corner, still in behind Jesse Redding, going to pick up a little bit of a draft off the 21. Neil Quick working his way back towards the top 10. In fact, he's well inside the top 10 in P7. It's kind of what we talked about early on. I know we keep mentioning how Quick saves his stuff, takes care of his equipment. Well, this is the fruits of that labor. We're starting to see it pay off as he's starting to pick these guys back up as Drew Blaze gets the wall magnet off turn 2, rides the backstretch wall for about the half distance. Continues on, no caution, no major issues. But Quick, taking care of his tires early on, is not having to work very hard to start to reel these guys in. Those that were not so generous to that first set of tires, well, Neil Quick was, and it's starting to work for him, working his way back towards the front of these guys. Quick about 5 seconds off the race leaders at the present moment. Remember, he was as deep in the field as about 12th or 13th not too long ago. Jesse Redding and Joe Tucker now fighting it out side by side. Tucker, the white machine, down low. Tucker drives it to the bottom. Jesse stays up top. He'll have a big run out of turn 4 here. Little bit of a wiggle off to 21. That's going to hurt the momentum on exit. What a last lap pass that would have been. On board with Jesse Redding. See how much yaw the one of Drew Blaze has got his car in. Joe Tucker's finally cleared Jesse Redding. Tucker up in the 8th spot. Jesse not willing to give it up here. He's still a car length and a half off the back bumper of the 13. Tried to throw it back in there, but it looks like Tucker's just got a little bit more pace. Now, meanwhile, the one of Drew Blaze gets into the back of Jesse Redding, sends him down into the corner a little deeper than maybe he had planned, opens the door for Drew Blaze. This now for the 9th position. Blaze drove it down to the bottom, a big lift out of the 1. Opens the door back up for the crossover. Jesse Redding back alongside. Now to the bottom goes the 21. Blaze takes the spot back, now finally clear at start finish. So move Jesse Redding back to the 10th position. Matt Sisler has lost a few spots here. He's back in the 11th position. Remember, he was battling up in that top 5 not long ago. Back out front now, not a battle for the race lead, but a battle for the 2nd position between Brian McCann and Brandon Mefford. Mefford a little loose off turn 4. It's going to give the momentum to the 3 of McCann. At the stripe, it gets clear once again, but Mefford really challenging for that 2nd spot here as we've got 25 laps up on the board. Remember, a stage break coming at the completion of lap 30. Just about 5 laps away. Still the battle for the second spot. Mefford way down the racetrack. Mefford way up the racetrack. Interesting, while we watch this battle, we saw this a little bit ago. Drivers battling for position behind the fast car, behind the race leader in this case. We're still able to reel him in slightly. It's just under 4/10, now just under 3/10 of a second. As the 83 and the 3 were continuing to fight, they were still gaining ground on Zach Millett. Now Mefford has finally completed that pass on Brian McCann and has really started to close the gap on the 315. At the stripe, lap 27 goes up on the board. Mefford about 3/10 behind. Now we got a battle for the race lead here. Mefford to the bottom of the racetrack, off turn number 2. Tucks back in behind Zach Millett, down the back straightaway. Mefford again dives it down to the bottom of the racetrack. Millett just smooth on corner exit. Now he's really trying to get that power down. Bit of a wiggle for the 315 off of 4, but that outside lane allowed him to carry a touch more momentum. Now he drops it to the bottom, though. Kind of provided a slingshot to Brandon Mefford. Mefford crosses back over. Now he goes low side. Mefford trying to take this stage win. Millett's going to fight hard for this, though. He's not running 100% of the schedule just based on his actual work schedule. So he needs every point he can get here. Down the backstretch, still fighting with Mefford. Drag race into turn number 3. It looks like Mefford might have him clear out of 4 unless Millett just has a perfect exit. Not too shabby for Zach Millett, but not quite enough. Too close to call at the line. Lap 29 goes up on the board, getting very close to the end of this stage. And Mefford's finally clear, takes over the top spot here near the end of the stage. Real loose for Millett off turn number 2. It's going to open the door for Brian McCann just a bit. Top 3 nice and tight together off the back straightaway into turn 3. Closing in on some lap traffic. I think it might be Eddie Rose. Indeed it is. Final lap of the stage here from Auto Club Speedway. 30 laps in. At the conclusion of this lap, we should see the green and white checkered flags, accompanied by the yellow flag. Millett was taking a look into turn 3, didn't have enough distance closed in on the 83 to do anything with it. Zach goes up the racetrack trying to keep some clean air on the nose, and at the stripe, it's going to be Brandon Mefford taking the stage win. Jesse Redding, 10th place across the stripe, and the yellow comes out.
What you got going on out there, bud?
Top 10 looks like Brandon Mefford, Zach Millett, Brian McCann, Neil Quick, Will Hewitt, Drew Prail, Mike Tucker, Joe Tucker, Drew Blaze, Jesse Redding. Top 10 finishers in stage number 1. Brandon Mefford, your stage winner. Holler Boys in the stream chat says Millett has the rear end hung out on exit. Yeah, him and just about everybody else, at least within the top 10. These guys are really sitting on that right rear tire. It's fun to watch, but you just got to wonder how long that right rear is going to hold up to that much abuse. The tire temperatures have to be going through the roof, which makes them a little bit slipperier, more prone to wear, makes the car looser, so you're still going to be on that right rear even more, even if you don't want to be. Spaghetti Rose may have stayed on the lead lap here. Not sure what the scenario is there. It looked like he managed to stay out in front of Mefford before the stage end. We'll see if that remains to be the case. Should get the wave around. So I anticipate the whole field's going to come down pit lane here, certainly for fuel. Still questioning whether or not we'll see these drivers take tires this time or not. Seems that everybody is going to make that trip down pit lane. So we'll watch the stage winner, Brandon Mefford, pull into his pit stall here, see if he takes tires or if it's just going to be fuel. We'll know right away here. Right side's in the air, so a minimum 2-tire change, likely to do all 4. Drops the jack crew around to the left side. It goes in the air as well. 4 tires and Sunoco race fuel for the Charity Motorsports number 83, Brandon Mefford, down and away. 14.90 seconds was the stop. A good stop. First out of pit lane. So with that, we're going to try and get a word with our stage winner, Brandon Mefford at Stephen HBR TV booth. Congratulations on that stage win, man. Talking about that first stage of this race, the first 30 laps, how's the car feel?
Oh, the car feels great. A lot of different lines, a lot of different strategies here. I think Brian and Zach burnt their stuff off, and I stayed pretty consistent there on the bottom side, so I'm sure they saw that. They're going to chase me, so I got my work cut out for me the rest of this race.
That's all you can do. It was fun to watch you reel him in and make that move for the race lead and the stage win. Wish you the best of luck, man, the rest of the way.
Thanks, Steve. I'm going to need it.
Brandon Mefford, your stage 1 winner. Looking for some luck to finish this one out. Plenty of racing still to go. Again, 100 laps the race distance and 100% fuel capacity for these drivers in this particular race. I know it varies from race to race. A lot of the time it's been a full fuel load. But if that fuel capacity, if the fuel window put them at about 30 laps, if we go green all the way, it's going to be tight. You may see some guys start to run out. Granted, we do have this caution for the brakes, so that extends things slightly, but it could mean we'll see drivers running out very close to the end. Cautions do breed cautions, though. If we get 1 or 2, it should shorten those, or really extend those windows for everybody out here. So field getting formed up on the backstretch. Getting ready for a restart here. Brandon Mefford and Zach Millett going to be your front row going back to green. Brian McCann, Jesse Redding in the second row. It'll be Michael Tucker and Neil Quick in row 3. Mark Truxell and Ken Couch will make up the fourth row. Ken's got to get tucked back in here. He's laying back quite a bit. Got to get formed back up here. Pace truck makes the hard left down pit road.
Green flag.
Green is back in the air. Mefford with a great jump, great restart for the 83. Mefford jumps out to 3/10 plus in the first corner. McCann takes advantage as well. He's to the inside of Zach Millett. Middle of 1 and 2. This is what Mefford's going to want to see, is these two trying to battle it out, but it looks like McCann is thinking better of it. Tucks back in behind. Right on board with Zach Millett. You heard him lift already. Clutch the car, lift and coast, saving fuel this early on. Let's see if he does it again into 1. And there it is. is. Got the clutch in, just coasting down to the apex in turn one. Seat on the tack, drops down to 0. Close to it at least. Oh, big wiggle as soon as he got back in the gas. These cars are a handful. Current top 5 is Brandon Mefford, Zach Millett, Brian McCann, Neil Quick, and Jesse Redding. Changes there as Quick taking over that 4th position at the stripe. Still not quite clear at the 21. The battle up in the top 3 not over, but cooling off slightly. The battle for 4th still hot and heavy as we watch the 2 go to the bottom, the 21 up the racetrack. One car loose off of turn number 2. It might have been Chris Elliott, Matt Cobb. Now it was Matt Cobb, number 22, having a moment off turn number 2. Gathers it back up. We stay green. Meanwhile, change for the 2nd spot. Brian McCann to the inside on Zach Millett. Millett trying to fight back, tucks in behind just for a moment, pulls a little bit of a slipstream. Nothing doing back into turn number 1, though. McCann up into the 2nd spot. Millett drives it deep into turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, still behind them, it's Quick and Redding fighting for the 4th spot. Redding's going to lose that position officially here. It looks like Quick has control of it for the time being. Big mover on the day so far. It's the 5 of Mark Truxell. Started in the 20th spot. Currently comfortably within the top 10 in the 8th position. The Little Tate's Cupcakes number 5. And Truxell not going to wow you with lightning fast laps, but they're going to be consistent every single time. Typically very good about taking care of his stuff, not getting into any serious trouble. Battle for 3rd, Neil Quick sticking his nose to the inside on Zach Millett, down turn number 3. And again, these two stay side by side for a brief moment. They were still able to reel in the 83 of Mefford slightly. Millett drops back to P4. New race leader now, Brian McCann. That didn't take long. He got that spot from Zach Millett and quickly reeled in the 83 and took over the top spot. See if we can find that pass. In fact, here it is. The pass for the lead just a moment ago. McCann gets to the inside off turn number 4. Just ever so slightly faster than Mefford. Gets clear before they get to turn number 1. Drives it in a little deep. Mefford tried to cross him over, but it didn't pay off. So the top 3 now, McCann, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick, and Zach Millett and Jesse Redding, your top 5. Chris Goins has quietly worked his way back to within striking distance of that top 5. He started 5th, currently runs 6th. 42 laps in here from Auto Club Speedway. Things pretty calm for the time being. We're going to step aside, get an HPR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Club Speedway, a few laps shy of halfway. Brian McCann out in front. Started in the 7th position here today. Did not waste any time getting up towards that top 3 and now maintains the top spot. Brandon Mefford runs 2nd, right where he started. Neil Quick 3rd. Zach Millet in the 4th spot, trying to mount a charge once again on the 2 of Neil Quick. That'd be the 3rd position. I don't know if Millet's just going to wait here until he can get another opportunity for a pit stop. Only one set of tires left in pits, in the pit, over the pit wall for these drivers to take advantage of before this race comes to an end. Going back, green flag racing. About lap 34. There or another. Still a little bit of time before we see more green flag stops, but these guys are going to want to stretch it as far as they possibly can, knowing that they've only got one more set of tires left over the wall. Lap 50 up on the board here. Get back to the back straightaway here. We'll be halfway. McCann still out in front, but Brandon Mefford not giving an inch. 10th and a half off the back bumper of Brian McCann. It's maybe a car length. It's less than a car length down into turns 3 and 4. Mefford took his time, took care of his stuff, cooled everything down, and he's giving it another go here at the top spot as they get back to the line here. Lap 51 up on the board. McCann's going to win it, or lead it, that matter. Mefford still in behind, trying to find a way to get around the 3. Speaking of McCann's, the 42 of Kevin McCann. This is kind of what we expected. He's slowly but surely working his way back towards the front. Started near the back here from from incident penalties from last week at Martinsville. Started 16th with those drivers that opted not to take a time. When that happens, the starting positions are assigned by I-rating order. So McCann, one driver that was not allowed to qualify, still able to start in the 16th position out of 23 drivers here tonight. But nevertheless, since then, he's up 7 spots. I'd be willing to bet he's not pushing very hard right now. He's just being smooth, taking care of the car, running consistent laps. Real loose there just a bit. Got in behind Michael Tucker. I don't know if it lost the nose for a minute and then found it. Back out front, Brian McCann still with the lead. Brandon Mefford not able to finish that attempt off, and in fact, he's lost a little bit of ground here. Now it's 0.4 of a second back to the 83. Kevin McCann now in the 8th position. Next on the list for him to attack here is going to be the 39 of Michael Tucker. Tucker up the racetrack. Bit of a wiggle for the 39. He gathers it up, keeps his foot in it, still maintains the position ahead of Kevin McCann. McCann taking a look back to the inside. Tucker doing the lift and coast as well. As McCann drives it to the bottom of the racetrack. Still not able to complete the pass. A little bit of a lift from Tucker. Way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Kevin trying the slide job here. Does he have enough room to get it done? Looks like he's going to. Big time run for Michael Tucker out of 4, though. Does he switch it up and try to go after Kevin in turn 1? Back alongside. Tucker and Kevin McCann battling it out. Kevin drives it way deep into 1 there from the top side. Tucker remains in the 8th position. Kevin McCann now up into P7. Will Hewitt maintaining his starting position in the 6th spot. Michael Tucker still in 8th after losing the spot to Kevin McCann. Another big mover on the day. It's still the 5 of Mark Truxell. Mark alongside with Drew Prell for position. Prell may have it. Prell now up into the top 10. Does he come up the racetrack and cut off the run? Jesse Redding really loose out of turn number 4. Gathered it up, saved the race car, saved the caution. He's going to lose some spots, though, now back to 11th. Big time moment for the 21 of Jesse Redding is now Joe Tucker's driving to the bottom of the racetrack. Try and take the 11th position away. Talked about it a bunch here tonight. You lean on that right rear tire too much, it's going to get hot. As it gets hot, it gets a little softer, it melts, it gets greasy, it gets slippery. And it just continues to compound the problem. Redding battling back with Joe Tucker off turn number 2, now side by side for the position. Wiggle out of the 13 and Joe Tucker as he gets off turn number 4. Redding's going to take the position back here. Again, this battle now for the 11th spot. Still no change from the race lead. Brian McCann still out in front of Brandon Mefford, 0.6 of a second plus the advantage. Then it's Neil Quick, Zach Millett 4th. Chris Goins now in the top 5. As we continue to watch this fight now for the 11th spot. Side by side down into turn number 3. These guys know each other well. They race each other regularly. Crossover from Redding off turn 4. Tucker up the racetrack. Again, folks, get ready here. We're going to have green flag pit stops coming soon. Lap 60 has gone up on the board. We had green flag come out about lap 34, 35. We think that fuel window is about 30 laps as these two continue to battle side by side. Really impressive watching the 13 and the 21 fight for this spot, albeit for 11th. They're running it like it's the last lap for the win. But they're doing it clean. Impressive run for both drivers so far as Tucker now finally clear of the 21, but will Jesse battle back once again? Speaking of battles, though, behind them, Matt Sisler and Vincent Short going at it. Track Bar Media in the stream chat says Kevin is on his way. Pit cycle will be interesting. time being, Sisler has the spot. 13th, that is, over Vince Short. Vince is able to close the gap in the middle of the corner, but with that really high line that the 93 is utilizing, he's able to drive past him on the straightaway. Another wiggle from Sisler, though. Short closes the gap again. McCann now out to just about a full second advantage over the 83 of Mefford. Still watch this fight with Matt Sisler and Vince Short. Sisler up top, number 93. Vince Short tucks in behind in his number 15. He tucks in behind there in his Chevrolet. Meanwhile, these two continue to fight it out. Drew Blaze has caught both of these drivers. Now he's going to become a problem for these two as well. Big wiggle for Sisler off of 4. We've seen that a lot this afternoon with multiple drivers trying to get the power down. Get a little bit of a trickier exit here at turn number 4 as you get to the main straightaway. Again, you've seen the track. It's not really a straightaway as you would define the back straightaway as truly a straight part of the racetrack. Get out of turn number 4. It is visually deceiving, trying to put the power down the right way and let the car drift up the racetrack and carry all of that momentum. You put too much wheel into it on exit while you're trying to get that throttle to the floor, you have a high probability of getting it sideways. Meanwhile, Drew Blaze has gotten around Matt Sisler, and he's going to work on Vincent Short here. Short in the fence off of 4. Slows his momentum a bit. Sisler taking evasive action. He's going to get the spot back, but Blaze is going to take care of both of these drivers here in just about a lap or two. Now Blaze up into the 13th position. Sisler 14, Short 15. And Chris Elliott in pit lane here. He's got some right side damage. This might be a little bit premature, but it's probably within his window. Lose a lap here as McCann crosses the stripe. Lap 66 goes up on the board. Brandon Mefford still running in the second spot. Uncontested. Back to Neil Quick in third. Also uncontested. Zach Millett in the 4th position. Chris Goins back in 5th. Again, all by himself. And look at that. P6 up 10 spots. Kevin McCann closing in. Catches Eddie Rose off turn number 2, goes to the inside, going to make short work of the 88. And Kevin McCann pulls down into the pit lane here. He's going to make his pit stop. Trying to undercut these guys a bit. We'll see if that drags the race leaders down, knowing that Kevin McCann has hit pit road. Jesse Redding's going to follow him down. The best lap on the day for the race leader is a 40-40. The last lap was a 42-17. You see the tire fall off in lap time, just that in itself. If Kevin can get out there and run a lap or two clean on these fresh tires, he can gain a ton of track position on these guys that have stayed out. We'll see if the 3 and the rest of the top 5 decide to come down pit lane, and they do. Brian McCann in pit road, as well as Brandon Mefford. Millett's going to stay out on the racetrack and lead another lap. Neil Quick comes down as well. Chris Goins in the pit lane. Plethora of drivers coming down pit road for their service. And it's going to be tight. I think these guys should be good to go to the end of the race if they're careful and save fuel, even if we stay green. Final set of tires going on. Kevin McCann, 15.28 seconds for his pit stop. He took 4 tires, certainly. Brian McCann, 4 tires and fuel. He's down and away. Brian McCann gets out ahead of the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Finish up his stop. Meanwhile, Zach Millett has saved a ton of fuel. He stays out once again, but again, the part that concerns me about the 315 still being out on the racetrack, yes, he's great getting in and out of the pits. He can usually gain a lot of time and sometimes positions by coming down the way that he does. But staying out there a couple of laps while these drivers have fresher tires versus him, they're gaining a lot of track position. Now, I know Millett might be concerned about trying to make sure he's got enough fuel for the end. But at this point, everybody else has made their bed. We haven't really had any cautions to speak of tonight. Only one we have had is for the stage break, and Millett stays out for yet one more lap. I would almost expect to see him the next time by, but we'll see. He's still in fuel conservation mode, coasting through the corner, picking up the throttle and letting the clutch out off turn number 2. Saw a bit of a wiggle there, and it seemed intentional. Is he out of fuel? Nope, still in the throttle. Lift, coast down into turn 3. And here he comes, Zach Millett off turn 4, getting her woed up, trying to get down to pit road speed without locking up the tires too bad. And fingers crossed, haven't seen Zach Millett get popped for speeding in my career as an HBR TV broadcaster, but there's a first time for everything. Millett from the race lead, down pit road. Well within his fuel window to get it to the end. Slides to a stop at number 1 pit stall. Of course, Millett taking the pole position here tonight. Now here's the difference. He's going to have fresher tires than everybody else here for a little bit, so he can make up some ground. Millett down and away, 15 flat. Not a bad stop, but not an incredible one. Millett comes back out, trying to come up to speed. He's going to lose the spot to Neil Quick. Should exit here 4th, maybe 5th. Chris Goins at speed out of turn 2. He's going to take the spot away, so it's McCann, Mefford, Quick, Goins, Millett, top 5. Millett has got 11 seconds to make up. That's the thing, though. These guys that pit lap 67, 68, they might have to save a little fuel to get to the end. Now, Millett, he's in a position where I think he can just go full bore all the way to the end. See how this one cycles through. But at lap 72, we're going to take another HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Auto Club Speedway, 24 laps to go. We watch Brandon Mefford here in the second spot ahead of the 46 of Chris Mefford. Chris, unfortunately, is in the 19th position. 1 lap down. If we were to get a caution, he'd get that lucky dog. But the way this race is going, I don't know if we're going to get one, knock on wood. Brandon Mefford might have caught the wall there on turn 2 just a bit. McCann still with the lead, 6, maybe 7 tenths over the 83. Not sure the situation here with Kevin McCann as he slipped back to the 17th position. Didn't have a terrible stop by any means, 15.28 seconds, pitting at lap 66, but he might be saving a ton of fuel at this point because at lap 66, I'm not confident he can make it all the way to the finish. We're going to have to wait and see. Race leader is out of turn 2. Brian McCann over Brandon Mefford. Millett now up into the 3rd spot, but he still sits 9 seconds behind that group. He's got a lot of work to do. Last lap for Millett, a 40.78. Just about 4 tenths faster than the race leader. That's going to be close. If he does that every single lap from here to the end of the race, yeah, it's going to be real tight. It's about 8 seconds. If he does it every lap, all the way to the end, it's 8.4 seconds he can make up. That would put him 4 tenths of a second behind McCann at the finish. So he's got to dig down deep here, find something else, or hope for a caution. McCann having a really strong run here today. Now that he's been out in front in that clean air, he's been able to maintain a very consistent every single lap time. It's been pretty close to the next. McCann's last time by a 41.33. Millett starting to slow up slightly, a 41.08, still gaining, but the time is running out. I really think he's going to need a caution to do anything with these guys or even contend. Real loose out of 2 for Brandon Mefford. You saw him way up the racetrack. Looked like he was a little arrow tight, and then all of a sudden it caught. Chris Gones still back in the 5th position, still uncontested. Drew Prail running in 6th. He's his closest contender. Prail up 7 spots. Will Hewitt down a position in the 7th place. Joe Tucker up 4 in 8th. Fighting with Drew Blaze for that spot. Blaze to the outside. These two battle it out for that position. Mark Truxell is sitting in behind. A little bit of contact between Drew Blaze and Joe Tucker off at 2. If they didn't make contact, it was as close as you can get. Millett's last lap this time 41.33 to a 41.64, 3 tenths quicker than the race leader, but still I just don't see him being able to reel these guys in. Neil Quick back in the 4th spot. Blaze finally gets clear of Joe Tucker. Mark Truxell has a bit of a moment off turn 2, gathers it up. certainly use a caution. Get these guys formed up and see a real battle to the finish. We'll see if it happens. So watch Vincent Short running in the 13th spot. Still with Matt Sisler. These two have been going back and forth just about all race long, and they've got Ken Couch and Matt Kopp in behind. Those two are battling for position as well. Couch in the 14th spot, Kopp 15th. Couch reeling in on Vincent Short. Talked about this earlier on in the season about these guys not aggressively lifting out of the throttle. Ken Couch coming out of the gas, but ever so slightly, nice and ginger. Don't want to unload those rear tires too much. Couch drives it back into within a car length of Vince Short. Matt Kopp trying to drive underneath Couch, but not enough of a run to do anything with him right now. Vincent Short now way up the racetrack. Couch goes low. Couple of lanes down below the 15. Out of turn 2. Couch is there. Got a fender alongside Short down the back straightaway. Short powers back by into turn 3. Couch dives it to the bottom again. Couch is smart here. He might work the 93 as a pick. If he can stay alongside Vince Short. Can't get it done for now. 13 laps to go from Auto Club Speedway. Brian McCann still your race leader. A 1.3 second advantage over the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Zach Millett back in third. 7.2 seconds back with 12 laps to go. Real loose is Vincent Short off of turn number 2. He saves the car. Keeps her going straight down the straightaway. Really opened the door for Ken Couch. Ken Couch, Matt Kopp in line. It almost looks like Vince is trying to throw a bit of an aero block on the 08. Couch wise to it, dumps back down to the inside to stay out of that aero. Continuing to watch this fight here. As Kevin McCann hits pit lane again. He did end up going a lap down. He was 17th at the time of making that pit stop. Couch still working with Vincent Short here, trying to get that spot, and Couch really loose out of turn 4. He saves it as well. All that hard work down the drain. He loses the spot to Matt Kopp and was in position to take a position away from Vincent Short. Now we'll see if Matt Kopp can do anything with him. Now he doesn't have to worry about Ken Couch being in front. Out front, Brian McCann with a 1.83 second lead over Brandon Mefford, and that gap is growing every single lap. That said, Millett has maintained his distance at 7.3 seconds. Last lap for Millett, a 41.94. McCann, a 41.98. Still slower, but the differential between those two lap times is only about 0.04 of a second. That is not going to get it done here. Again, with 9 laps to go, Millett's out of time. His only saving grace would be caution if one were to come out. 2.2 seconds the lead for Brian McCann. Really loose is 315 of Millet. I tell you, it ain't for a lack of trying. He's digging for all it's worth. Millet pretty much just chasing trophies this year, and frankly, that's his only path to the championship this year. He's got to get in with some race wins. Catches the 92 of Timmy Stubblefield. Alongside into turn 1, 8 laps to go. Again, Tim in the 18th position, a lap down or more. Drew Blaze and Joe Tucker still battling it out. These guys just cannot get away from each other tonight. Blaze swatting at flies in the cockpit of that number 1 LSR Gaming X machine. Tucker tried to get alongside. He was able to get the fender just alongside of Drew Blaze. Blaze up the racetrack, still hanging that right rear out. This is where that dirt experience is going to come into play for Drew Blaze. Again, with all that said, Joe Tucker, he's had some dirt experience go very well for him as of late also. Can talk about the background of Drew Blaze. That's kind of where he started, was racing out on dirt. Telling us that it's just too toxic of an environment here in iRacing to run the dirt. So he jumped over to the asphalt side, and though everything has its moments, it's been a little better over here on the asphalt side, but Drew's ability to drive a car sideways certainly helping him here with his Gen 4 Cup car. Chris Elliott making a pit stop here late, number 29 in pit road. And looks like Chris has left the session, so his race is over. At the stripe with just about a 3-second advantage and 5 laps to go, it's Brian McCann. Dominant second half of this race for the 3. Got to give another call to the 5 of Mark Truxell as he's running in the 10th position. Started 20th here tonight. Keeping his distance off of Drew Blaze and Joe Tucker in case those two come together. Mark would be much happier picking up an 8th place finish instead of being collected in whatever wreck that could turn into. Things still unchanged here at the front of the field. Brian McCann over Brandon Mefford and Zach Millet. Millet now losing more ground on the race leaders. It's 8.2 seconds. Briefly 3 wide. Matt Kopp putting the pressure on Vincent Short as Eddie Rose is all the way up top of the racetrack. Rose now in the fence. Rose trying to get out of the way of those guys battling for position. Tried a little too hard, gets it into the outside wall on the straightaway, and the wall magnet takes over. Then he finally gets off the wall and down into the corner, but you see the distance lost that quickly to Matt Kopp and Vincent Short. Short maintains the 13th position over Matt Kopp. To go from Auto Club Speedway. Can everybody hang on to their race cars and get this thing home without any cautions for cause? Brian McCann continuing to stretch it out here. It's almost 4 seconds now back to Brandon Mefford. Brian McCann off turn number 4, looking for the white flag. He crosses the stripe. Final lap from Auto Club Speedway for Brian McCann. One more lap around. On board with Brian McCann. We wondered if he was going to be able to make it on fuel. Looks like he's home free with half a lap to go. He's in the throttle. Just taking care of it, making sure he gets it back to the line. No sputter, plenty of fuel for Brian McCann. Out of turn number 4, he's going to win race number 6 here from Auto Club Speedway. Brandon Mefford finishes in the 2nd spot. Zach Millett comes home in P3. Mark Truxell with a strong run, finishing in the top 10 after starting 20th. McCann trying to drift it all the way through turn 4. That's one way to put some heat in the tires. McCann drives past, start, finish. Lights him up, coming back. Doing donuts right in victory lane here at Auto Club Speedway. Pulling the old Jimmy Johnson. Make sure you crack the back of the car so it gets through tech. So celebrations continue here on the front straightaway. We're going to jump out and get our break out of the way before we talk to Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, and Zach Millett. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Auto Club Speedway for race number 6 of the No Bull Racing Series. Brian McCann picking up yet another checkered flag here on the season. We'll pull the driver of the number 3 up into the broadcast booth, get a word with our race winner. Brian McCann at Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I do.
Brian, congratulations. Yet another win here in the No Bull Racing Series. Didn't pick up the stage, but you got the one that was important, and that was the final checkered flag here at Auto Club. Walk us through this strategy. Was it just raw speed out of this place, or did you actually have a legitimate strategy?
Had the later run figured out pretty good, I think, and that was the strategy I went out on. So my first run on the stage, I kind of just gave that up and gave it away. Had to make some adjustments though mid-race, so I think that contributed a little bit, and that clean air. Once Brandon, was in the lead for a while, but once I got around him, that clean air was real nice. So all of it kind of worked together. Just happy to come across the winner, and no yellows came out there at the end. That's what I was kind of fearing.
Yeah, really clean race. I know Millett was in a decent position there. If the caution were to come out, he had a few lap pressure tires, but as the run went on, he was unable to continue to reel you guys in. You drove away not only from him, but even Brandon Mefford. What is the key to this place? I know tires taking care of them, keeping them from getting too hot really does seem to help. But what's the key? They seemed later in the race that you went, the farther out in front you got.
Yeah, at the beginning of the race, I was trying that high line, and I thought maybe that was going to work out, but then came in and saw what was going on, and that was not the case. So I changed my lineup a little bit, and that helped out greatly. So really the line was important tonight, and I think it was more important than the aero and everything else.
Well, with that, things change up a little next week. We go to Richmond Raceway, of course, the action track. That'll be a fun one, especially in these cars. Getting out of turn 4 is going to be a little hairy. How do you feel about your shot next week to go 2 in a row?
Richmond, I love Richmond, so we'll just have to see how this car handles on it.
Certainly looking forward to it. Brian, congratulations on the race win, man. Who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank my family, you for doing the broadcast, league admins for helping out behind the scenes and doing everything they do, our sponsors for helping out with everything, and drivers for showing up every week. Thank you.
All right, Brian, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Brian McCann, your race winner here at Auto Club Speedway. Next, we're going to pull the 83 of Brandon Mefford up into the broadcast booth. He won the stage. He wasn't able to win the race, but second, pretty close. Brandon, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations. You said you were going to need some luck. It just didn't pan out. You seem to have pretty good pace there with Brian McCann for quite a while. You're able to stay within a car length, but as the run went on, he started to get smaller and smaller out the front of your car. What could you have done differently? Was it just raw pace, or did you burn up your stuff trying to keep up with him?
I should have kept him in front of me there when I let him go by, but I'm not going to say I let him go by. He got a good run off of 4, but I should have stayed ahead of him. That dirty air, when he would come across my nose there to get the bottom line like I was running, it really made the car tight there in 1 and 2. And with that, it made me use up them rear tires a little bit, and his drive off sustained throughout that last run, and mine did not.
Well, still a second place finish. Certainly nothing to be too disappointed with. I know you wanted that win, and you got the stage win, so that's a plus. But we get to reset here, start it over, and we go to Richmond Raceway next week. Short tracks kind of seem to fall in your guys' favor. How do you feel about Richmond?
I know the guys in here are really good at Richmond. I like to consider it one of my favorite tracks, but I don't usually have good luck there. Getting off of turn 4 is going to be key, and then not giving up too much room on the bottom down there in 1 and 2, getting on entry is going to keep us out of trouble too. So I like my chances, but Brian is on our rails right now, so got to keep him behind me somehow.
You know, we talked to Brian a bunch, and his comments usually were, well, I'm getting used to this Gen 4 car. I don't have a whole lot of laps in it, but between here and you guys running over in the IROC Challenge Series, it seems that he's really starting to figure this one out. So he's going to be more and more difficult each and every week. We wish you the best of luck out at Richmond. Brandon, who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I want to thank everybody over here at No Bull for putting on a good show. We just went 100 laps on a very tough track with no caution, so everybody should be proud of that. Got to see some green flag pit stops, so I'm sure that was entertaining. Thank you for the broadcast, all the sponsors that help make this happen and make it where we can put this race on. on broadcast and all that good stuff. Thank you, Steve, for the broadcast. Doing a great job there. And then everybody over at Charity Motorsports and everything that they do to help us out and just keep a good camaraderie and the stuff that we get to do for our charities is great. And then lastly, my family and for letting me do this while they're getting everybody ready for bed and dinner done and all that good stuff on Sunday nights while I'm having fun.
Well, it definitely was fun, Brandon. Thanks for talking to us. Certainly wish you the best of luck next week out at the action track.
Have a good one, Steve.
Brandon Mefford, your runner-up here at Auto Club Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the 315 of Zach Millett. Put it on pole position, not able to cash out with the race win. We'll talk to Zach, get his opinions on finishing in the third spot here today. Zach, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations. A top 3 finish, well-earned. I think you might have dug yourself a bit of a hole staying out there late. I don't know if fuel was a big concern. You were very fast once we went back green flag racing there, but not enough time really to reel in the leaders and put a challenge on. Did you really just need a caution flag to do anything with those guys?
Yeah, I was thinking it was the best strategy for myself tonight because I knew a lot of the IROC guys had really good pace, especially long-term pace. So I wanted to come down pit road a little late. I wanted the freshest tires at the end, and I wasn't really banking on a caution, but if one came out, it would have been perfect. If I don't know, if those guys were up there battling and burning their stuff up, it would have benefited me too. It was just kind of the strategy I had from the start.
Well, it pays off to a certain extent. A top 3 finish, certainly nothing to shake your head at. I know you're trying to go out there and get some race wins with your limited schedule. You're going to need those. With that said, next week at Richmond, I know we didn't expect to see you here tonight, as was the case, I think, last week. Are we going to see you out on the track at Richmond next week?
I think next week it looks good. I think we're looking good for now. So unless they're hiring me for overtime or something, I should be here.
All right, so it looks good. Zach Millett's probably going to be here next week. With that said, how do you feel about this Gen 4 Cup car out at Richmond Raceway? I don't know if you got any laps there or not, but I can only imagine how difficult Turn 4 is going to be.
Yeah, I've never had this car over there before. I'm sure it's going to be a handful. I'm sure it's going to be insane trying to get off either one of those turns. So, I don't know. It'll be a real driver's test, that's for sure. It'll be fun racing around with these guys.
Looking forward to it. Of course, the IROC guys running the same race car on Monday night, so they've got kind of a leg up right now. And both the top 2 finishers tonight really looking forward to Richmond. Can you put a challenge on against those 2 next week?
I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully we can get some practice in this week. Any practice would have been better than this week. Yeah, we'll give it hell, that's for sure.
All right, Zach. Well, again, thanks for talking to us. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I got to thank you, Steve, and HBR TV, HBRShops.com. I got to thank all the admins behind Noble, Right Turn Racing, and all those guys, man. It's definitely a lot to do, and I give them a lot of credit. I got to thank Crack Bar Media, Castle Packs Powers, and shoot me a follow over on the Twitch at That S4 Guy.
Zach Millett, thanks for chatting. Good luck next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Zach Millett, your third place finisher here from Auto Club Speedway, already looking ahead to Richmond Raceway. That's going to be a fun one to watch. If nothing else, it's going to be exciting. I don't think we're going to have quite as many craziness as we had at Martinsville, but they don't call it the action track for nothing, so make sure you guys tune in for that next week. But before we get too far, let's look at the race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 finishers. Brian McCann is going to extend his points lead this week. Brandon Mefford was second, Zach Millett third, Neil Quick fourth, Chris Goins finished in the 5th spot. Drew Prale comes home in position number 6. Will Hewitt was 7th, Drew Blaze 8th, Joe Tucker 9th. Drew finally winning out the battle between those two. Mark Truxell a solid top 10, up 10 spots. He's our hard charger this week. 11th, Jesse Redding. Matt Sisler was 12th. Vincent Short finished in the 13th spot ahead of Matt Kopp and Ken Couch. 16th was Doug Wysocki. Chris Mefford finished 17th. Timmy Stubblefield came home in the 18th spot. 19th went to Michael Tucker. Didn't see a whole lot out of the 39 this week. Eddie Rose was 20th. Chris Elliott 21st. Kevin McCann. Don't know the scenario there with Kevin McCann. He was on a charge there, I'd say midway through the race. Got up into the top 10, was pressing for what looked to be a pretty good finish and maybe even a challenge to those top 3 drivers, but ends up 22nd, 12 laps down. And Mike Fahey credited with the 23rd position, 86 laps down. Don't know what happened there to the 19, but nevertheless a very poor finish for Mike Fahey out of Lone Star Racing. Those are your race results here from Auto Club Speedway. As I said, we will be rolling into Richmond Raceway next week, so make sure you tune in for that here at HBR TV. That'll be a fun one to watch, certainly, as this season continues to truck on and starts to wind down into playoff mode, and we'll see how that pans out as the season progresses. But got to thank you guys all for tuning in here tonight. Of course, if you haven't already liked the stream, please do so. youtube.com/@HBRTV1 is the channel link. And if you're watching the stream right now, it's just as simple. Scroll down, click the thumbs up button, help us out. It makes a huge difference. It really pushes the video out to a wider audience and gets more eyeballs, not only on us here at the channel, but also the No Bull Racing Series. It helps the league as a whole. Also, thanks for your added traffic to HBRTV1.com. I know it's not much of a site, but it exists. It's there for a reason. And I do appreciate the traffic we've had there. We've actually had some inquiries on broadcasting through the website. And again, I do appreciate that very, very much. So that's going to wrap it up for us here at HBR TV. I'm Steve Singer, congratulating Brian McCann on yet another race win here from the Auto Club Speedway. Tune in next week, Richmond Raceway. Thanks for watching, guys.